We're gonna walk. We're gonna walk back across the trench, make it into that seafloor station. We're gonna get inside, and then we're gonna get to the surface.
Those suits have 2 hours air tops. They're only designed for brief extravehicular work.
You will go slow and steady. They'll hold.
It's 3 kilometers. You'll be defenseless out there.
What do you want from me, Mac? This is what we got, and this is what we're gonna do. Half that team is dead, and I'm not losing the other half.
What's it about creature features that in the 80s, they were huge? Well, even, take that back. It's probably the 50s, 60s, 70s, from Roger Corman to Joe Dante in the 80s to whatnot. We love our creature features. Even till recently, Planet of the Apes, I guess that doesn't count. But King Kong would be a creature feature probably.
Yes.
Or Godzilla.
Yep.
All box office hits. Might not be well received, but they still did pretty well. But a creature feature is kind of is a safe bet for a studio, whether it's a small feature or a big blockbuster feature. And but lately, I don't know. I think the surge has dropped a little bit, and even before it gets released, it's already got bad press. And we talked about The Meg. This is where we're going with this. We talked about The Meg a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed it for what it was. I understand that why people wouldn't like it. It's one of those films where you can't argue with someone for not liking it, because you'd be like, yeah, but fuck, come on, leave your brain at the door and have a good time. That's it. That's now when we talked about The Meg, I stuck up for it quite a bit, but I did have some negative comments. The big one was, where is the gore? If you're going to do, there needed to be gore. Jason Statham went on record, I was not pleased that this was not going to be R-rated. Even though he's the star, he really has no say in where the production ends up, in what direction it ends up going. In fact, The Meg was shot R-rated. There is gore out there. There are violent scenes, but the studio decided to go safe bet and went with the PG-13.
And I hate that. That's one of my major problems with the first Meg. Is not the second, but we'll get to that. But yeah, the played it safe, went for PG-13, and there's no gore. And yeah, disappointing.
And this is probably one of the reasons John Turturro didn't come back for a second, just because he was very pissed.
Don't blame him.
He told everyone that there is an R-rated version of this, and he doesn't know why it's not getting released. Rumor has it the studio were a bunch of dicks and just got rid of the footage, so it's not available anymore. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise
me. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on there in the is it Dubala Volateria? I always butcher his name, but he's the big producer of this one. Mm-hmm. I like a lot of his stuff. He's a big wig for Warner Brothers. So, but yeah, I'd like to see that copy. So get it fucking out, asshole.
Yeah. I have a lot of problems with the original Meg. I find it's just flat. There's no tension. Boring, two-dimensional characters. Terrible acting. I mean, strangely enough, Jason Statham carries it decently enough. But some of the other characters in it, such as, the Asian woman who's his love interest with the child, she's really wooden. A lot of the line delivery, not just by her, but by so many others, is just, it's amateur hour. But ultimately, a creature feature should be exciting and great fun. Look, it's not meant to be Shakespeare. Creature features, they're meant to be good fun. I mean, you go right back to the 30s, 40s, and 50s, 50s especially, and the 80s, as you've mentioned. Those creature features, they were always great fun, with a fair bit of gore, especially in the 80s. You don't get any of that here. And so things like the bad acting by people like Ruby Rose, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And it's not like so bad it's good fun. It's like so bad it's fucking bad,
and a lot of people might piggyback on that. I disagree with you. I would agree with you that it's not. I would disagree with you that you say it's not fun. I had a good time watching the Meg. I come on. I mean,
but there's nothing exciting happens. I didn't care for the characters.
Yeah, it's funny because the reason we're talking the Meg right now, because we're about to talk Meg 2, is because what the Meg 2 gets right, and we'll discuss that, is everything this one doesn't do right, the Meg 2 turns it up a notch and gets some of it right.
Yes.
And so, the characters in the first one, especially you mentioned Ruby Rose, but you've got competent actors here. Rainn Wilson, who was brilliant as Dwight in The Office.
Yes.
You've got Cliff Curtis, who I'd love to see. You want to see Cliff Curtis? He plays Mac here. He's great in Training Day, if you want to see him in something. Robert Taylor, who's on a great show called Longmire, I really like. Ruby Rose, Jesus Christ. I mean, my God. Even the guy who plays DJ, Paige Kennedy, was really solid. And the guys who actually I thought were okay in the Meg are the ones they come back.
Yes, they brought them, the ones who were decent enough. Mac and
Yes,
DJ especially.
Yeah, Mac, DJ. It was nice. I don't really care that she's back or not. Mei Ying's back.
Yes, the child.
It's the same actress.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's nice to see her. She's a lot.
It is a
fucking
trope
grown.
for these types of, especially modern creature features, where they have to throw a kid in. Spielberg did it with Jurassic Park. It's to keep the kids sort of, they can relate to these characters apparently. But yeah, it was pretty obvious that we're going to bring her back. And instead with the actress, she's a lot better, obviously, and a lot older than she was in the original. But she's only a kid, so I didn't mind her in either film. Like, she's a bit corny and annoying in the first one, but nice enough to see her back. But yeah, I agree that they basically looked at the mistakes, and there are a lot of them in the first one, and they have fixed some of them.
So with the Meg, you had John Turteltaub, who was on the director's chair this time, and that is. And I think he's a wonderful director. The National Treasures, one of my favorites. But he knows how to do cheesy fun, good, with corny lines, but at the same time, you kind of feel for the characters. And you're going to laugh at the first one. His first, I don't think it's his freshman outing, but it's very close, was a movie he did, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, back in 1990.
I remember that. I remember renting it out. And
it was a solid little film. And then he did Cool Runnings, which is another fun film. So but Cool Runnings, you had no-name actors, couple new names, like obviously John Candy, God love him. But you had camp with that, but at the same time, you really went with the characters, and you rooted for them. So if anyone could have taken what he was given with the Meg, John Turteltaub should have been able to do that.
Studio interference.
Yeah, the only thing I can say was, because there's no way someone like John Turteltaub would have cast Ruby Rose. Because you've got Jason Statham, like guys I just mentioned, who are competent actors, and then you throw her in? What the fuck?
Yeah, it just jarred. And also, I don't know, I forget the name of the actress who plays his ex-wife. What's the point in that character? You know what I mean? Just completely pointless. And again, they got rid of her for the second one. So they did, which was a wise decision.
Yeah, I think that was. I'm probably wrong. Jessica McAmee. She's Lori. Was he Lori?
Yes, his ex-wife. Yes.
Yeah. The
hair.
one where he get. Yes. Yeah. Pretty pointless. But I don't care about that. I mean, there's some inconsistencies with the Meg, with the shark's eyes and so forth, and what we were kind of misled in the poster a bit to what we were going to get, and it was half produced by a Chinese company, and the Chinese company, they're big into their action films. They did some wonderful stuff. I've seen a lot of it, especially adventure and catastrophe kind of films.
Yeah,
and they merged with Warner Brothers.
Well, there's a big Chinese influence here. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And
it is, and that's fine, and that's where the hokiness I think comes in, because they like to do hokey with their what they call their darker stuff, just to let people know, hey, we're just having fun here, wink, wink.
But see,
and that's fine. But the problem is it got so hokey, the Meg, that even when the drama happened, you didn't care because the hokiness is pretty much drowned, pardon the pun, the serious stuff.
The problem here in the first Meg, I don't believe was the Asian Chinese studio, because, well, I don't know, but certainly Asian cinema in general know how to have fun, and they know how to go over the top, especially with the gore and stuff. I believe it was the Western American studio who played it safe, and yeah, there's serious problems with flat characters, no tension, characters that you don't care about, when it's just it's bad. It reminded me of, speaking of the Chinese influence as well. It reminds me of Moonfall. The Meg 1 is to
that's not fair. That's not
creature
fair.
features what the Moonfall is to
That's
science
not
fiction.
fair.
Yes, Moonfall's a lot worse, I would admit, but there are shades of it here in the first one.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I actually really enjoyed the Meg because at the end of the day, it put a smile on my face. I'm a Jason Statham fan. It was so corny. You rolled your eyes, but you fucking laughed.
Yeah, well,
had a good time.
Statham can pull that off. Yeah.
Well, he did. So he's done his job, but obviously I can see every comment that's being made against it. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, but this will be kind of a fun one because we're going to see what. It sounds like I'm ripping on the Meg. And I am.
So am I.
But I enjoyed it, but you didn't.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what the Meg 2 done. And the funny thing is, the Meg 2's got worse reviews. And guys, I'm telling you right now, fucking clueless whoever's reviewing this, because this is 100 times better than the Meg. They have tweaked it quite a bit. And watching it again a couple times, believe it or not, I've watched this thing a few times, is that they really fixed a lot of the issues I had with the Meg, and I got to applaud them for that. Besides the violence,
yes. I was going to say it's still not perfect, and it's still not they haven't quite mastered it, but it's a hell of a lot better than the first one.
That's right. So John Turtle is not back this time. We got. I'm shocked. We got independent horror / fucking
thriller.
I don't know,
weird stuff.
I don't know how. Yeah, Ben Wheatley.
Yeah.
He does. He's a lot more darker stuff. Movie you guys want to recommend? That first one pops in my head is a movie called Kill List.
Yes.
It is a disturbing little film.
A Field in England is. I mean, it's really sort of hard to believe that the guy who directed A Field in England also directed this, but fair play to him.
Well, Ben Wheatley's on my side. He took the part because a director always needs to spread his wings a little bit and do something more studio based. Mm-hmm. I'm fucking cool with that. And he actually is a fan of the Meg. He's pretty much the reasons I've said.
That's right.
People take it too seriously. They want to have fun with it, and he just wanted to get his feet wet and be able to tweak it a little bit.
His feet wet. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so kudos for him to do that. I mean, that's way outside the box.
Oh yeah.
I mean, way. It's like Tarantino wanted to do Star Trek. That rumor that was going on a while. Way outside the box for him. So I applaud him for trying to do something different. And I take it back. It's not the word trying. He did, and quite frankly, pulled it off because I'm a fan of this movie. I think it's better than the original. So let's see what we've got. What worked? The returning cast. You've got Statham, Cliff Curtis, as we said, Mei Ying's back. You got Paige Kennedy, Pippin the dog's back.
Yes,
for all you fans from the original. And we got some newcomers. We got Jing Wu, who plays Jimmy. We're just gonna go with Jimmy.
Yep.
We've got Jess, who's played by she's the bad. I will say, at least it tries to do. I mean, come on, guys, you're fucking Hollywood writers.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that might have hurt this. Kind of is that you brought the same writers back.
Yeah.
And it might be comfortable to have the same writers, but the problem is sometimes they'll stick with what works or sadly what doesn't. And they try to do this plot twist where there's someone sabotaging the Marine One. And guys, I knew it was just within 2 seconds.
Absolutely. I mean, all the signs are there. I mean, it's not a big twist whenever you find out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've got Driscoll, who's the bad girl.
Yep.
That's Sienna Gilroy. She's actually an established young actress there, and she plays the head of everything. And again, she's in the big war ceremony, and you think but no, she's the head of all of this whole.
Yep. It's
chaos.
obvious she's a villain as well.
Yeah, it's so obvious. It's pretty much, this is what they've done, and this is what the Meg should have been. This should have been the original Meg, and what they've done is just remake it. That's because, I'll give you an example. The film, the first, literally, almost 3/4 of it takes place down in the trench.
Yep, it's Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
It is a homage to films I grew up with, Leviathan, The Abyss, just recently a film called Underwater. And if you watch the original Meg, they did this twice. And it's kind of a cheat. He goes down to save these soldiers or the submarine or whatever will happen there.
Yes.
And he's got to close the hatch and sacrifice some of them to save the rest. And this will be a side story throughout the Meg franchise. And then he goes back and has to do the exact same thing, but his wife's involved this time. And it's like, come on, the same fucking thing.
Yeah, that's in the first one. Yes.
Yes, and so what they do here is they decide, let's just keep the whole thing under the water in the trench, and let's introduce us to some new creatures, and let's make man the villain this time.
Yeah.
So that was cool, something a little different, and so you kind of get two films here, because quite frankly, the Meg has nothing to do with this film besides a little cameo. And then take out some of the
returning characters,
yeah, so, or the, what's that? Yeoman Smith, I think they call him on Star Trek. The guys aren't going to survive.
Yes. Sorry, the red shirts. Yeah.
yeah.
And they're basically big shark fodder. Yeah.
So the opening, we have Jason Statham is now Aquaman. He works for the Oceanic Institute, and he pretty much stops people from dumping oil into the ocean,
radioactive waste and stuff. And
but
not only that, he kicks the shit out of them as well because he's Jason Statham.
That's what worked, and I guarantee
totally.
you, Wheatley said something. Wheatley probably said something. Listen. I mean, Wheatley's English, I think. So
yes,
he probably grew up watching Statham, Transporter and all these films as a youngin'. And he's probably like, I want to see Jason Statham kicking ass. Yeah, he can fight sharks and shit. That's fine. But he wants to see Statham what we know him as.
Yeah.
So he quite a bit peppers in some nice little well-choreographed action for a guy who doesn't do a lot of action.
Yes.
And the opening sequence, as silly as camp it is, it's still, we get to see him kicking somebody's ass. And that works for me.
Yeah, totally, because it's Jason Statham. That's what you want to watch a Jason Statham film for. You know what I mean? A bit of tongue-in-cheek fighting and action. Yeah.
So he does pepper that in well. So he gets picked up. We find Mac is still with him.
Yes.
And then you also were introduced to Riga?
I think so, yeah. It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Rigas. And she's kind of like the pilot. And then there we are. And now we're introduced to Jimmy. Jimmy, he's kind of like the Tony Stark of the group.
Yes.
He invents these underwater suits. But not only does he invent underwater suits, Jesus. You saw this coming a mile away near the end of the film.
With the bleeper? Underwater.
He's got a beeper underwater that could control the Meg.
Which will obviously be followed up in the sequel as well if they make Meg 3,
Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But again...
But he's also the brother of the love interest from the first one, and also the son of, you remember the sort of mentor, sort of Chinese guy from the first one as well?
Yeah, the one who... Yeah. The one we were supposed to have that powerful moment, we didn't.
Yes, exactly.
But he's the uncle of Mei Ying.
He's quite likable. He's a pretty good character. I like him.
No, and that's what I'm saying. They replaced Ruby Rose and all these hacks that didn't do much.
Yes.
And they peppered in these new actors. And quite likable.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even what was his was it Montes, the bad guy?
Oh yeah. Well, he's
likable.
Yeah,
he's over the top.
He's very 80s in tone, type thing. Obviously Wheatley's watched some, 80s action films, maybe he's a fan of them or whatever. And, you've got the, he even has this sort of big moustache and stuff, just to make him a true villain. Yeah. He's cool.
You could take this guy.
And over the top death as well. So, yeah. Yeah.
You could easily take this guy and throw him into the set of Commando, Predator.
Exactly.
Or Mission Action, Rambo.
Yes, 100%. And that's all intentional. And I'm totally cool with that. I love that sort of thing,
Yeah, so they're going to go down and they're going to test these new submarines that could go way beyond down to the bottom of the trench.
Yes.
And again, the reason I say this is pretty much a remake of the Meg is because Mei Ying stows away in the submarine.
Well, that was always going to happen. Well, I mean,
yeah, I know, but
yeah,
I don't like complete copy and paste. If you now these guys do it, they do some, like I said, I like this better than the original, but don't be taking everything from the original. You don't need to be doing that. And that was a big. I mean, you didn't need her. You didn't need her in the scene.
No, she's just there. I mean, her even sort of being in the film at all feels like a studio note that says, look, we'll have to have a kid for the kids watching to relate to. It's pure, like, you get those really irritating kids in the Jurassic Park films. It's pretty much the same thing here. But, she's not too bad. She's not as annoying as, some kids that, in those types of films are.
She's nothing against the actress herself.
Yes.
I mean, what they should have done was kept her on top.
Yes.
And build some kind of quick relationship between her and Jess.
Yeah.
So have her and Jess running the, Marine One up there and having, and then she ends up learning that Jess is the mole and the one hacking everything. So that would have been a nice little twist, and she'd be up there with the military bad guys coming in and Jess taking over. That would have been better for her to be up there than just throw her back in the sun.
Yeah, I would have liked that a lot too, but I think it was more, let's put the kid in peril, type thing, and the whole relationship thing, Statham, you're grounded for the rest of your life and stuff, but yeah, you can come anyway, you're here now, let's get on with it, let's, go fight some sharks and giant octopus. Octopi, sorry, that type of thing, and naturally, the kid is she's very she can handle herself and very, but that in this type of film, if it was a more serious in tone type of film, I would have an issue with it, but in this type of film, I'm okay with it.
I do. The one thing the film has, and it's a flaw. Guys, don't get me wrong.
Just the one flaw, right?
I am discussing them, but I got a smile on my face while talking about this film, so it's done its job for me.
Yeah.
But every time someone's in peril, they're making jokes and they're doing wisecracks, or
yes,
they're just guys. You got to put us in your boots here, so. You got to be concerned for yourselves here, and you're 25,000 in the depth there. Yeah, and you're fucking making wisecracks and jokes. Like, they find out when they break the trench that when you break the trench, you open up a hole.
I wonder what's going to happen there.
Yeah, so the Meg, the one that's controlled, follows them. I don't know how the fucking thing followed them, whatever. And goes into the trench with them. And then there's 3 of them now. Because you find out there's an Apex Meg, the big fucker, and they have another Meg. So you have these 3-size Megs, and Jason's like, oh, great, 3 of them.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be shitting my pants at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you could barely kill the 2.
I think they're trying to be sort of, again, 80s in tone, where, like, Arnie, Arnie makes quips after, killing someone, let off some steam, Bennett, that sort of thing. So I think but a lot of sort of modern films, like Marvel films, the problem is a lot of serious scenes are juxtaposed with, sort of quirky one-liners and quirky humor, and a lot of the time it doesn't work,
Yeah.
And
So
it also sort of it means that there's sort of, you're not taking the scene and the threat and the drama as serious as you should. A lot of the time we don't need humor. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my cheesy one-liners and silliness in films like this, but not keep them under control. We don't need one every 5 minutes.
And what I think, and that's one thing I was disappointed with Ben Wheatley. I think Ben Wheatley, I thought, would have brought a darker tone to this, and especially this sequence. Now, there's some scenes that are coming that work, but they really should have made this a darker tone. This whole bottom scene of the trench, because this is most of the film. And then when you get to Fun Island and the fucking chaos hits in, go ahead, go for it.
Yeah.
Make this camp. I don't care. Mm-hmm. So I was slightly disappointed in the way. Now, it does kick into a little bit higher gear where Wheatley starts to show, pretty much the casualties that are about to happen. Yeah. Obviously, they crash down there because they have to blow up the mining people down there, the mining for rocks and diamonds. They have to blow up the mining because they don't want them coming down to see them, that they've been doing this.
Yes.
So, causing them to crash. Yeah, so they have to walk to point A to point B, and you meet these kind of cool little fishes, and you got these little octopi things, and they're all based on, obviously, real creatures, or are real creatures.
Well, I mean, they're playing about a bit with, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert in sort of natural science or sort of prehistoric beasts and stuff, but I'll be pretty confident that they're playing around a bit with, facts and sort of thing. But yeah, I mean,
what's with these fucking raptor fish?
Yes.
The ones that come on the islands.
I don't think they're real. I don't know. Again, I'm no. What do you call them? A paleontologist? I'm not a paleontologist, if that's the right word. But I don't know. But I liked them. They were cool.
Yeah, well, that's what I liked about this too. They upped the game a bit. You got the big octopus we'll have to deal with soon, and then you've got the nerd, the guy who clicked the action figures.
Yes.
He gets eaten by the octopus, but you never see what eat him.
Yes, the
but
big
you
guy.
do see it. At the end of the film, we obviously introduced the octopus. And then they got these little raptor creatures. And then they get the Megs that show up.
I wanted to see more of the octopus, the giant octopus, especially at the end. We'll just see big tentacles. I don't know whether that was for the to do with the budget or it didn't look too good, with the CGI. I don't know, but I wanted to see an Ed Wood style giant octopus.
Oh, you can't do that
going
because
fucking crazy. Yes, it would take away from the sharks, but I like
no,
giant
because
octopuses.
the octopus doesn't work that way. An octopus.
Oh, fuck me, it's a Meg. What do you?
No, seriously, no. I mean, I'm just saying it wouldn't. That'd be stupid. I know. I'm saying this is stupid. We got fucking raptor fish coming out and attacking people, but no, because if you see the head, an octopus, you only see, and you see enough of it when Jimmy goes and sticks grenade. Sticks dynamite.
I wanted to see a man in an octopus suit jumping up out of the sea.
Well, that would have been stupid. That would have been. This isn't Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I genuinely did want to see that, and I wanted to see much more of the octopus, the giant octopus. I mean, what's not to love about giant octopuses going about killing people?
Now you've got they're running out of oxygen, and they're being attacked by everything, which is kind of cool. And they have to get to the door. The door, and as they're running, and the one of the girls, Sal, I can't remember what her name is, but Jimmy's trying to push her along to get. She's right there, and she pushes him away, like, get out of here, I'm dead, and she sacrifices herself because she's not going to make it and gets eaten by the Meg. I thought that was nice. I thought that was self-sacrifice scene was pretty good, and I also like the fact that you have another character who makes it through, and they're decompressing, but her suit, something was going on with her suit.
Yes.
And so she implodes.
Yes. That was. I would have liked it to be more gory, but like Total Recall style when their eyes are popping out when they're on the atmosphere of Mars. But again, this is a studio note. They had to play it safe regarding the gore to appeal to the PG-13 audience, which, to be quite frank, pisses me off.
Yeah.
I want to
If
see
you bring,
a head. I wanted to see a head exploding with like chunks flying over Jason Statham's face and stuff, and for him to go, "Oh fuck," or something like that. Even there's barely any swearing in this. If I want to see a creature feature like this, I want gore, violence, and general sort of swearing, silliness, and stuff.
I just don't know why, if they're trying to tweak what didn't work for the Meg, and they've done some nice tweaking here, like I keep mentioning, but why not just make it R?
The studio, I have a pretty.
No, I mean, I think if they made this R, it did pretty well worldwide, but they would have made a lot more money if they made this R. Because people go, okay, now, because people, fucking Jaws is more violent than this, and this that's 76, and that's PG.
Yes, definitely. This just goes to prove yet again that studio execs and big producers and stuff are clueless, and just leave things to the likes of the director that you've hired, like in this case Wheatley, or even listen to Jason Statham, because he obviously wanted more of this sort of thing.
Yeah, of course, and he even said about this one.
Yes,
he's not. But this one did pretty good, and what's funny about this one? Studios spend a lot of money on marketing.
Yes,
it could almost be more than the budget.
Exactly. Yeah.
But this one came out quietly, and I forgot why. The strike.
Oh yes, right.
Because Jason Statham couldn't do any promoting.
Yes, that's right. None of them
and
could.
They couldn't. They couldn't do anything. There might have been a commercial here and there that they've already prepaid for, but that's why it was so quiet coming out. And they're shocked that it did pretty well considering. So I thought they didn't have faith in it. I was like, oh no, that's not. And I think that's what some people think too sometimes, but people don't realize there's no promoting of films here. They can't do it. So that's why this was, like I said, it still did well. And I'm glad it did. Warner Brothers, I'm sure everyone knows what Warner Brothers is going through with the DC universe and their whole fucking website and streaming site and all is going on. They're selling half their product.
Hollywood is collapsing.
Yeah, I know, but they got Oppenheimer, Barbie, and The Meg all came out at the same time, and boom. So good on them. I'm glad they're. But take that fucking money and do something good with it now. Give me Meg 3 R-rated.
Well, I was just about to say, the only way that I will watch. Well, there's two ways actually. I will watch Meg 3 if you want to do it for the podcast, just to follow up, for continuity. But the only other way, as a sort of casual sort of audience member, I would watch it is if it's R-rated.
Yeah, I'll still see it. I like the Megs. I don't care. I can rewatch them. They're so fucking stupid. So, yeah, you got the twist. Jess is up there. She's sabotaging everything, and they find out that she's gonna flood the station, and Statham's like, "Damn you, Jess." I'm like, well, again, if you gave us even 5 minutes with Jess and the banter she has with everyone, and they're all good friends and they're all hanging out. You
just don't care, yeah.
Yeah, you want. I don't know.
There's no real emotional weight there to her portrayal. If we had got the portrayal at the very towards the end after she was on wacky adventures with them underwater, that sort of thing, then we find out it would have been much more of a powerful twist, obviously. But it's just this sort of bland, sort of random character who's been in it for 2 minutes. At the start, it's revealed that she's behind it all. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
It would have been better. They tried to play this. His right hand man, the gal, Regas, the pilot.
Yes,
she's told by Drexel or Jess to shoot Jonas in the heart, Statham.
Yes,
and we'll get you out of there. And she's almost going to do it, but then she decides she can't. And it's so unconvincing that she's going to kill Jason Statham. And so what they should have done is have Jess walk it on the floor with them.
Yeah.
She went with them. Whether she could have played reluctantly wanted to go, but Jonas makes her go. It could have been something like that. And so when she goes down and they make it in there, she could have turned on them. And then we find out that she's obviously dating Monty's
badass,
whatever his name is.
Mustache badass, yeah.
Yeah, so, and they're down there. So that would have been maybe some way to go. We didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
And keep Regas up on the top. Something like that. But they didn't go that route. They went with just way too flat.
Yep.
Flat's the perfect word when it comes to some of actually the story itself is flat. The execution of the escape is pretty good. I like, again, we bring in Jason Statham fighting is it Monty?
I think it's something like that.
Whatever.
Yeah. He's just mustache bad guy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So him and Jason Statham a good fight doing the little coal thing. There's a nice scene where he's got to go underneath. He's got to swim around in the ocean, and when they're locking him in, and they're gonna not drown him, but seal him in. He's got to breathe through his nose, and you can see the blood.
That's actually pretty well done. Again, it would have been much more effective if it had been much more dramatic, if it intense, if it had been a bit more sort of gory, with the blood and all coming out, because it's quite a claustrophobic sort of concept.
Well, I mean, it knows its rules, especially when you're in that depth, but it's.
There is a bit of exposition as well, where it's it's plainly for the audience, it's benefit, but I mean, well, this whole fucking film is full of that. Yeah. You'll have Mac, who's the sensible one, going, listen, Jonas, you can't be doing that because of the depth will implode and pressure will kill blah blah blah, and Jonas Statham would go, you don't understand. We've never been this far before. We have to explore. And then Mac will go, all right. Yeah. And so Statham will say, we'll sort out our problems one at a time. Yeah,
it's like, well, no, this is law of physics here.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But so when they manage to escape and get to the I do love how they get to the sub. And they kind of reflect back to the old Meg where, oh my God, don't leave Jimmy behind. You got to seal the door.
Yes.
I'm not leaving him behind. Not this time. And Jimmy comes in. You should have left me behind. Well, that's what we're all been saying. But as he shuts the door and they jettison back up to the ocean, there's Monty. He's hanging on there.
Yep.
He's hanging on for the ride. Yep. I thought that was kind of fun. So cheesy. So we almost see like a fucking cartoon.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. Well, there's certainly more of that in this one than the original.
Now, what they could have done, again, I'm getting mad at it, even though I still enjoy it, where the what they're doing is Jess has the commandos coming in. The commandos are going to kill everybody on Marine One, and to hide up this whole mining expedition is what the whole point is. So they got to clean up. They're the cleaners.
Yeah.
And Mac and DJ are hiding. And there's a scene with the mace. And it's like, these are fucking...
highly trained
guns for
mercenaries.
hire mercenaries.
Yeah.
You're not going to win this.
Yeah, but the two.
And there's a difference between having some good banter like Lethal Weapon or Die Hard and getting away with it and having a chuckle. But at the same time, when it becomes Keystone Cops... oh, come on.
Yes, yeah, a lot of it. I mean, I suppose on paper it probably looked okay, but it's not really pulled off. And again, I would like to have seen more about those commandos. And again, I wanted more badass violence from them because that's who they are, And whenever obviously they get killed later on by whatever monster, it has much more effect and payoff for the audience.
Yeah, I mean... at this point, I mean, I don't understand. You can use some fucking CGI. I don't give a shit at this point. Shoot these guys. This isn't like a tickle, I'll punch them in the face. These guys are there to kill you and Mei Ying. So at this point, Jonas has been sabotaged by his so-called friend, almost killing him and Mei Ying, not to mention Mei Ying's uncle, and pretty much did kill his, pretty much half his staff. He goes up there, quotes some jokes, and punches him in the head. There should have been a point where he's had enough and fucking just goes apeshit.
It removes the threat of these guys. You know what I mean? You don't take them as serious as you should do. And then whenever like they are being badass, you don't actually. You just know that it's going to be okay because like I don't know, DJ's running about macing them or something for comic effect. It's just a bit weak. See, to be honest with you, the more I think about it, the more I think, and I love Ben Wheatley and his films. The more I think Ben Wheatley is actually not the greatest choice for this type of thing, because he has no experience with this type of blockbuster type film. I think he was.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I think that he's the only signing point of this because he's the one who the action scenes are quite well done. It's the best part, and that's him. And this whole trench scene was fun.
Yeah, that's the best part of it. Actually,
some flaws, but that's very fun. That's an homage to some of the stuff he probably grew up with, like the films I mentioned. And so that works. And the Flood Island thing's fucking brilliant. I have nothing against the Flood Island scene. It's just a couple. Well, it's a couple things, but there's quite a bit of it. But it's just there's no. Again, the tension's gone. We're not going to get it. We did, I think, a little bit in the bottom there when they were running out of oxygen and they're trying to get to the doors. There's some tension there.
That's the best.
I do like the fact when Jonas has to swim to go around and he's got to fight Monty that all worked.
Yes,
and that's all due to Ben Wheatley. So no, Ben has nothing. I just think it's him going by the script and being a yes man to the studio. And that's just because it's his first big outing dealing with the studio. And rightfully so, he doesn't want to bite the hand that feeds at this moment. Because he's still established.
While the scenes you mentioned are pretty well done, I think just overall it's lacking with a bit of bite, you know?
You're not wrong. But it's a step up from the man.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
So I just think it's so funny that Jess and Monty are dating. This is the best. I was like, what the fuck?
But yeah, they're just it's very unconvincing.
And then of course you've got to steal the whole Samuel Jackson scene from Deep Blue Sea. It is quite well done. Where she knocks on the glass. Don't worry, this glass is make proof.
Bang.
Yeah, and as she's giving her big, this is what we'll do next speech. The May comes through and eats her, and Monty's crying, and Driscoll's like, "Are you crying?"
Yeah, he's meant to be a badass.
Yeah, I don't know.
I also thought they were a very mismatched couple. Also, they were a completely unbelievable couple as well.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I mean, she's a good-looking gal. He's a fucking...
Yeah, she's an educated woman and stuff, and he's basically just a thug, you know?
Yeah, I want to know how they met.
Yeah. I mean, it was just really unconvincing. It just did not take their... It's just like, what? So right there in a relationship? Well, but you don't get any backstory or anything, you know?
I think the problem with the film is when they're going from A to C, it's how they handle B.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Because they're down the trench, that's A. That's good. Now they have to they've got to get to the Marine 1.
Fun Island.
The B, no, they have to get to Marine 1. Further down the trench, they have to get to Marine 1, right?
Yep.
So the B part is getting these commandos to take over Marine 1, and it be like that's that whole Keystone Cop scene. And then now they have to get from Marine 1 to Fun Island, but the B part is the horrible scene where they're on this raft, pretty much a raft boat, to get them to track one of the sharks. And the Meg's following them, about to eat them, and they go, hold off, wait. And somehow the Meg attacks the people that are about to shoot.
Yeah. I mean, it was so obvious it was going to happen as well. You know.
Yeah, but it was just like, how do you time this? So my point is that anytime they're getting to C, it's B that seems to be the problem.
The execution.
Makes sense?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
It's always the middleman that seems to be the problem here.
It's not very well executed, just these types of things.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still going with it because now we're at Fun Island. And I'm like, here we go. This is what I was waiting for. This is fucking nuts and chaos. And I'll tell you what, it all works. I fucking love this whole, and it's about 40 minutes, not even 40, but I would say 35, 40 minutes, and it's fucking nuts. It doesn't stop.
It's good fun.
It is so fun. I think DJ and Mac and Jimmy work really well together. Those guys have some really fun banter, like when he's trying to fuel the helicopter in the air.
They're good scenes.
And then when Driscoll gets you in the helicopter,
and those raptor things, obviously lifted from the actual velociraptors from Jurassic Park.
Well, I don't think they're raptors. I
know that they're like, but I don't think they are. But let's just call them fish raptors.
Yeah, I'll call them fish raptors at this point. But they're so fun when they're attacking the gunmen, and then you have the scene where they don't like I said, they need the violence, but we didn't get it. So at this point, Driscoll, who's causing this whole chaos, she is in the helicopter, and she's got the gun, and the little fucking raptor fish
trails her out,
grabs her. Well, it's funny because instead of seeing her get devoured, he just runs with her and drags her, and she's trying to fire the gun, and she's fucking panicked. It's fucking funny, and it's good. It's a good death, actually. But you don't see much, but it still works.
With sort of villains, for the start, she is not that convincing, or she doesn't have much of a presence as a villain. But even if she did, so the payoff has to be where you do see their death in all its gory detail. But again, it goes back to the PG-13 sort of aspects of it.
Well, at this point, though, the conversation, dude, we must move on from it. We're not getting it. And we know.
I know.
But I'm going with, like, you got Statham did his own stunts because he used to be a professional diver.
That's right.
So he did all this jet ski. The jet ski stuff was really nicely shot. And again, this is going, Ben Wheatley is definitely, I think, the right man for the choice at the time because he's got some nice shots. He's got some nice camera shots facing Statham. And when Statham, flips the what do you call it, the wave runner.
Yes.
You follow with him. And the great thing about his style of directing, it's not a cheat. There's no quick cuts, and you're like, what happened there? What happened there? It's smooth. And you see every detail. There's a beautiful shot where he's trying to spear one of the sharks, but then the shark flies up in the air, and he uses the wave, and it's done in slow-mo, and he uses the wave.
He flips.
He uses the wave, and then he spears the other shark.
Right, yeah.
That's utilizing
there's a lot going on at this point, but yes.
Yeah. The rest is fucking nuts. And then you got the octopus just grabbing people and eating them, and it's just fucking what the fuck? And I had the best time. And then when they're in the when Mac and DJ they're in the and Jimmy, they're all in the shed with the commandos.
Yes.
And he makes, DJ back up, and the garage door opens, and then the commandos are getting attacked by the raptor fish. And I'm sorry, I just fucking enjoyed this.
I'm not knocking it. It is an enjoyable finale. It's entertaining for sure. But yeah, there's always that part of me that's looking at to be. Basically, again, come back the gore. I wanted more gore and violence.
Yeah,
but it is fun. And it's Giant Octopus. I want to see more of it.
Come on, Jason Statham. There's two more sharks left. And he goes, I've got this, and he takes the fucking propeller.
One problem at a time.
The propeller and the shark, and it's actually well done. It's well shot. And you see it coming through its brain.
Yeah, it sticks right up it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have the last one, which is the controlled Meg, which he goes beep, beep, beep.
Well, that was set up from the start. Like, that was obvious that was going to happen.
Oh, I know. And then Monty's gets kicked into the mouth. That was pretty good. And that whole scene where the shark starts eating at the pier.
Yes. And he basically kicks it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a nice little scene. They say that was an homage to Jaws.
I think there's a lot of... there's even homage to Jaws 2 and stuff. And they even openly talk about Jaws 2 in this.
Yeah, when he's banging on the propeller.
Yeah, it's DJ.
That's the same thing. It's the same thing he did in Jaws 2, but he's banging on the cord, the wiring, whatever. But yeah, there you go.
The Meg 2, the trench. I do like that. It's basically a game of two halves. It's basically the whole sort of underwater base film. For the first half, and then we get to the sort of crazy creature feature stuff, in the second half. I think overall, it's enjoyable. It's passable. And a hell of a lot better than the first one. But it is lacking in the aspects which we've just discussed.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with those. I mean, it's the same thing going back to Meg 1. I can't really argue with what people are saying. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if an action film puts a smile on my face and it's not insulting, I'm going to fucking give it a pass. Mm-hmm. This is the way it is. It's got some issues. That could be the teething issues you were talking about with Wheatley. But he did a real nice job with the action sequences. He implemented some much better suspense, at least in the first half of the film, with the people down in the trench.
Running out of air and stuff, yeah.
And running out of air and people getting eaten, and people you already introduced to, which you might have been introduced to them for like 2 minutes, but I was much more invested in these guys than I was in the first group of people that were in the Meg.
They were just so bland, and yeah.
You brought back the right people. I think the villains are just comic book villains, aren't they?
They're meant to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. But what's wrong with giving us a little twist and turn? And that's the one thing I thought Wheatley would have brought in.
Yeah.
Because Wheatley is really good at intense dramas. That's what he's known for.
Well, that's what I was hoping for.
Intense drama. And that's... You weren't going to get Kill List from the Meg, too. Let's get that right. But again, he could have implemented, what I mean is, helped the Jess twist a little better. We could have handled... the point B's better. And that's where I thought Wheatley would have shined a little more. But again, it goes back to maybe, and this is probably what happened. Hey, Ben, you're a great filmmaker. You want to come to a big studio and help us out? Sure, I like the Meg. I'll do it. And I think his hands are tied in some of this stuff that I'm talking that I wanted.
To a certain extent, yeah. I think in other ways, maybe with really ramping up the sort of action and stuff, while his hands would have been tied by the studios as well, I think he was maybe, because probably I believe it's his first time doing this sort of thing. I mean, it is.
It is.
So he was maybe a little, pun intended, out of his depth. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, but you know what? For a guy who's out of his depth, I'm sorry, I'll repeat it, broken record. The action scenes are fucking great, and so I hope Ben Wheatley gets a chance to write his own script and to do an action film.
Meg 3, maybe,
and maybe let him balls to the wall. Let him do Meg 3. Call it Meg 3 balls to the wall. Let people know that you're gonna you guys want us to up it. You got it, Ben. Have at it. And that's the way it should be. Statham wants it, and he's producer.
Yeah.
So producer, if you want Jason Statham back, he's gonna want more killing. And he's right. But at the end of the day, guys, it's the fucking Meg. I'm reviewing this film as a creature feature. And come on, fuckers. What do you want? Barbie makes $1 billion. I mean, give me a fucking break. And we're about to talk about Barbie. And I don't know. I don't know. I know what you guys want. I think we're done now.
No, I mean, I've made all my points. I don't need to go over them again.
We don't need to rehash it again. Yeah. I think you and I made valid points.
Yeah. I take on board your points, and I pretty much agree with most of them. But just maybe, where to stand. With it. Yeah, I'll not repeat myself.
Yeah, I just think in a day and age where Barbie is pretty much tongue-in-cheek. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's smarter than it looks. Fine, I'll give you that. But
I'll comment when I've seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. I mean, what happened to getting your popcorn and getting your pop and going to the cinema and watching something? You put your smile on your face and you come out and you go do your shopping, whatever you're going to do.
What did you think of the Doctor Who reference?
There isn't a Doctor Who reference.
There's a massive one. So there is.
Oh, fuck off.
The director, Ben Wheatley, has directed 2 episodes of Doctor Who.
Oh, I don't care.
He has. The Peter Capaldi era.
Great.
Yeah, he did.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Wow, I'm a better man now. Thank you.
You'll sleep better tonight knowing that.
Oh, fuck me. All right, guys, we're going to end this one. The new issue of Phantasmagoria is officially out.
Yes, it is.
With my review of the Meg 2.
Yep.
And, of course, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is in there. And so go check it out. Obviously, Phantasmagoria's got a handful of reviews, short stories of the macabre, the Lovecraftian, and the fantasy.
Yep. Articles, interviews, a lot.
Yeah,
big feature on King Kong as well, for you film lovers.
There you go. Yeah. He pissed all over the bag, but he puts King Kong on the fucking cover.
King Kong's one of the... Well, I'm not going to put the Meg in the cover. I don't have a Meg artwork for a start, but...
That's where you throw people off. What the fuck?
King Kong is one of the greatest films and certainly creature features ever made. But it's certainly I would consider probably, arguably, yeah, it's the greatest monster movie ever made. All things considered.
All right.
The Meg is not.
Fair enough. I beg to differ. All right, that's the new edition of Phantasmagoria is available all over the world at Amazon.
Yes.
And locally here at Forbidden Planet in Belfast.
Yep, correctamundo.
And a couple places in the U.S.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You can give us a shout. Feel free to reach out, send us an email, send us your thoughts and whatnot at citizenframe_podcast and Instagram. I keep forgetting to mention these at every podcast now. And, of course, Facebook. Next up, that's right, it's Barbie time.
Dun, dun, dun.
I guarantee you, Trevor, you're going to go, please, can we watch the Meg?
Well, I haven't seen it. And, prior to recording this podcast, I started watching it, and, well, I watched about 5 minutes. Again, this is not my thoughts on the film, but I stopped after 5 minutes and stuck on Damien Owen 2 instead. So,
wow. There you.
So, again, that's not my thoughts on the film, because I've only watched the start of it, but tune in next time, folks, and you'll hear both me and Kieran's thoughts on Barbie.
Yeah, it's coming soon. All right, guys, that's all we've got. Get ready for Halloween month and a half.
Yep.
So that's a wrap. Take care.